$400 a month. Jobs that vanish overnight. Bosses disappear. Malls go silent. This isn't a slowdown. It isn't a warning. This is the day China's economic miracle died, and the world wasn't ready for what came next. The illusion does not collapse all at once. It thins first, like air at high altitude. People arrive in the city chasing gravity. They believe opportunity falls downward into towers of glass and concrete. They believe effort turns into stability. They believe survival is temporary. Then the math betrays them. In southern megacities, monthly paychecks hover between the equivalent of $400 to $500. $600 is considered lucky. $700 exists, but only in whispers. On paper, these are wages. In reality, they are countdowns. The same number means different things depending on where you stand. Back in a hometown, $400 can still stretch. No rent, shared meals, familiar walls. Life continues, if modestly. In the city, that same figure dissolves instantly. Rent swallows half. Food consumes the rest. Humidity crawls up the walls. Damp rooms never dry. Sleep becomes shallow. Hunger becomes routine. Workers don't describe this as poverty. They describe it as suspension. Not falling, not standing, just hanging. One laborer puts it simply, in the city, this income isn't living. It's delaying collapse. Then the employer disappears. Factories close overnight. Construction firms stop answering calls. Managers vanish without warning. Salaries freeze mid-month. Contracts become meaningless. When people go looking for answers, they find locked doors and empty offices. And something stranger begins to happen. In the middle of this breakdown, strangers step in. A bowl of noodles is offered for free. No payment, no questions. It's okay, someone says. Eat first. It looks like kindness, but it isn't prosperity. It's emergency medicine. When working adults rely on food charity from other struggling adults, the system has already failed. This is not generosity filling a gap. It is desperation covering a wound that will not close. The rooms stay wet. Rain seeps into concrete for days. Neighbors rotate in and out, carrying temporary jobs like life vests. 3 years pass. 4. Nothing stabilizes. No savings form. No future locks in. For years, these stories were dismissed as exaggerations, isolated cases, online noise. Then the statistics confirm the silence. Official figures show that nearly 1 in 5 young people cannot find work. Even after definitions were changed, even after data was softened, the number kept rising. And when official numbers admit damage, the unseen damage is always worse. Unemployment does not stay contained. It spreads like pressure in a sealed room. In financial hubs, real estate agencies begin closing one after another. Entire storefronts disappear within weeks. Staff are cut quietly. Thousands are removed from payrolls without announcements. Offices once packed with dealmakers turn hollow. Real estate, once the engine of endless growth, begins consuming itself. And when housing slows, everything slows. Restaurants follow next. A business owner invests the savings of a lifetime into a popular food concept. The location looks perfect. Crowds pour through daily. Tens of thousands pass the doors. Then the crowds vanish. At dinner hour, the mall echoes. Tables stay empty. Entire floors shut down in a matter of weeks. Businesses don't even bother selling anymore. They abandon. People stop eating out. Not because tastes changed, because survival did. This is not a gradual decline. It is a disappearance. And this is only the surface. But what happens next will change everything. Because when jobs disappear, something far more dangerous replaces them. The labor market does not collapse politely. It redraws borders. A man in his 40s loses his job after years of service. He searches for work. Days pass, weeks, nothing. Listings specify age limits under 35. At 47, he is not rejected. He is erased. Another man approaches that same threshold. 35 arrives like a verdict. Interviews stop. Replies vanish. Skills no longer matter. Experience becomes a liability. Debt sharpens the edge. One worker carries hundreds of thousands in loans. Sleep disappears. 20 days pass without rest. Cash withdrawals fail. September arrives, and business collapses overnight. Daily sales drop from normal to double digits. Some days barely reach the equivalent of $30. 90 feels miraculous. Veterans of retail say they have never seen it this bad, not even during past crises. In entire districts, storefronts repeat the same message. For rent, for transfer, for lease. Once busy streets hollow out. Small companies shut down quietly. Large ones cut salaries to survive. This is not random failure. It is synchronized, and people internalize it. Unemployment strips more than income. It dissolves identity. One man, jobless for over a year, describes himself as having nothing left to introduce. No work, no assets, no relationships, no place in conversation. He feels invisible. Another man loses his job and initially feels relief. Sleep returns. Pressure fades, and fear arrives. He has children. Every hour awake costs money. There is no pause button. Unemployment is not rest, it is a timer. Families adjust downward. Vacations become walks in nearby parks. Dining out becomes dangerous. Travel turns imaginary. Even personalities change. Social people withdraw. Homes become shelters, not places of rest. Relationships fracture under pressure. A young man loses his job. Days later, his partner leaves. Plans collapse instantly. Love does not survive prolonged financial uncertainty. Not here, not now. Debt tightens further. Business owners who expanded during good years now face impossible repayments. Credit records hang like guillotines. A failed venture doesn't just end income, it follows you everywhere. Some lose everything in a single month. Assets sold, reputation destroyed. Debt remains eternal. Suicide attempts increase, not whispered, discussed openly. People stand on ledges. Emergency cushions inflate below. Friends pull bodies back from edges. During the pandemic years, entire professions vanished. Tourism, transport, hospitality. Workers shifted into delivery, ride-hailing, warehouse shifts, 12-hour days, 200-plus days a year. Then layoffs arrive again. Arbitration halls fill with lines, stretching hours. Severance disputes pile up. Most workers leave with nothing. Mortgages trap families, lose the job, lose the future. Sell the home, still owe the bank. Don't sell, work decades for a vanished value. Housing prices fall below loan balances. 5 years of payments erased. No winning move remains. People run out of food. Some sleep through entire days to avoid hunger. Noodles replace meals. Silence replaces plans. Tears fall on bike rides home. People stop outside their doors, waiting, not ready to be seen. Job searches become psychological warfare. Hundreds of applications, no responses. Career gaps become crimes. Concern from family feels like accusation. Self-worth collapses quietly. Eventually, people return home. Not defeated, empty. The city no longer makes sense. And this is where the story takes a darker turn, because the collapse is no longer economic. It's psychological. Economic collapse does not announce itself with sirens. It arrives when the future stops replying. Cities once built on ambition now run on avoidance. People delay decisions, delay spending, delay hope. This creates a feedback loop. Fear reduces activity. Reduced activity deepens fear. History shows this pattern clearly. Every major downturn follows the same psychological arc. Confidence breaks first, consumption follows. Employment collapses last, but hardest. What makes this moment different is the speed. Age limits erase workers instantly. Debt multiplies stress. Housing no longer provides security. Education no longer guarantees access. The old promises no longer connect to outcomes. When systems fail this way, individuals blame themselves. That is the most dangerous phase. People stop imagining alternatives. They stop planning. They stop believing recovery applies to them. Official data shows youth unemployment nearing historic highs. Streets show something worse. Empty malls, silent restaurants, shuttered offices, lives paused indefinitely. This is not delayed recovery. This is locked in damage, and it is still unfolding. People are still waiting for calls that never come, still opening shops at closing time, still staring at numbers that cannot work. The economy has not reached bottom yet. It is still revealing how deep the fracture runs, because collapse is not one event. It is a process. And once belief breaks, rebuilding takes far longer than falling. The question now is not whether the miracle ended. It is whether a new model can emerge before an entire generation gives up trying. That is the real danger. This is not just one country's story. It is a warning written in real lives, real debt, and real silence. If you want to understand the forces reshaping the global economy, not through headlines, but through human consequences, this is Economic Tales. Stay curious, because the next chapter is already forming.